Yo. Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing what's in the title and ranking every single Radiohead album. So I'm a pretty big fan of Radiohead. I've been listening to them for a while now. They're probably my favorite musical artists of all time, apart from Death Grips, which is a completely other video that I'm going to make sometime in the future. Don't know when, but I'm probably going to make a video on Death Grips later. But I thought I'd make a video about Radiohead because Radiohead is very special to me. It's what really got me into music. So when I was younger, I didn't really listen to music much. It wasn't my thing, but then I listened to In Rainbows and The Bends, and my mind was like expanding as I was listening to it. Like my mind was just like, I could feel it increasing in size while I was listening to it. Now, I do believe that Radiohead doesn't have like a bad album that you can't listen to. There's no like Kid Rock albums here. Like there's nothing that I can't imagine anyone listening to. I just want to preface before we start this video that I'm not Anthony Fantano. I'm not like some music reviewer or anything like that. I can't tell you the intricacies of everything. I just like music and play guitar. Just to preface, again, this is all my opinion, okay? I don't want nobody commenting. If anybody does watch this video, don't comment anything about like, oh, actually Pablo Honey is the most experimental album of King of Limbs actually should be the greatest album of Radiohead of all time. You only listen to Creep. And I'm like, shut up, dude. Nobody cares. Okay, this is my video, so it's my opinion, okay? And I'm basically right all the time. So alright, so now that that's out of the way, let's start this video. Okay, so the worst album of Radiohead in my opinion is The King of Limbs. This album is a really weird album. When I first listened to it, it's like weirdest Radiohead can sound in my opinion. Like this is the weirdest they've sounded in their entire discography. Out of all the albums, The King of Limbs is definitely the weirdest and most experimental Radiohead album. It kind of feels like a mix match of different songs that were just shafted from other albums and then just put into one album. It's really weird. Nothing ever really like flows or fits together. The songs are alright, they're not bad, but I personally don't really like them that much. So that's why, in my opinion, it's the worst Radiohead album. However, it does have some alright songs like Bloom, Lotus Flower, I think that's it. And so that's why The King of Limbs is 9th place on this list. Now for 8th place on this list is going to go to Pablo Honey. The Pablo Honey is Radiohead's debut album that released in 1993. It's an alright album, it's not bad. The most different I feel like from what Radiohead ends up becoming in the future compared to everything else. It's very by the numbers kind of songs that don't really fit with everything else that Radiohead produces afterwards, but it's a great stepping stone for the beginning album. It also has the song, I don't know if you guys listen to the song, it's a song called Creep. I don't know if you've listened to it, you know, it's kind of underground. It has other pretty good songs apart from Creep, like Blowouts, Anyone Can Play Guitar. Alright, so the next for the number 7th spot on the list is going to be Amnesiac. Amnesiac is an alright album. It came after Kid A, which I feel like is to its detriment because it just kind of feels like Kid A but worse. However, that doesn't mean Amnesiac doesn't stand out on its own. Like, sure, there are a lot of songs that are really like alright, they're okay-ish. There are some songs that are like really, really good, like Pyramid Song, You and Who's Army, I Might Be Wrong, Life in a Glass House. All great songs on this album, but everything else on the album just kind of brings it down. So that's why Amnesiac's on number 7 place. However, it's not a bad album, it's just not that great compared to everything else. Now it's 6th place, and that is Hail to the Thief. Hail to the Thief is kind of in the same spot that Amnesiac is in, where there are some great songs in the album, but overall the album kind of is alright. Like 2 + 2 is 5 is probably the best opening songs to a Radiohead album of all time. Like that song just hits so good. There's some other good songs like There, We Suck Young Blood, Sail to the Moon, but like I said, it's very much like Amnesiac, where there's good songs in the album, but overall the album is alright. On to the 5th. Okay, so number 5 on this list is going to be Radiohead's latest album, A Moon-Shaped Pool. A Moon-Shaped Pool is a pretty good album. There are a lot of good songs here, Burn the Witch, The True Love Waits, which are really good songs. However, I feel like this album is so focused into achieving one certain mood that all the songs kind of sound very similar, to the point where everything just kind of blends together into this certain form that sometimes I forget that certain songs are in the album, except for like the standout ones. So that's why it's going to be on my number 5 on the list. On to number 4. Now number 4 is my personal favorite Radiohead album. Even though objectively it isn't the greatest Radiohead album, it's my personal favorite, The Bends. I really love The Bends. Like I said, when I was first listening to Radiohead, The Bends is the first Radiohead album that I actually listened to, and after that I fell in love with Radiohead. It's just such a great album. It's like Pablo Honey evolved. Like Pikachu evolves into Raichu, Pablo Honey is Pikachu, and then The Bends is Raichu. It's just so good. Every song here is like a banger. My Iron Lung, Just, Fake Plastic Trees, High and Dry, Planet Telex, The Bends, Black Star. It's just so good. The highs of this album are really high, even though the lows are alright, but the highs are really high. You know, and it has one of my favorite Radiohead songs of all time, which is Fake Plastic Trees. It's probably my favorite Radiohead song of all time, apart from another song which I'm going to talk about later in this video. And the rest of the songs on this album are just great. And it also features my favorite Radiohead album cover of all time. I really love the album cover on it. It's just really cool to look at. So yeah, that's gonna be number 4. And in number 3, that spot goes to Kid A. Now, going along with the Pokemon analogy, Kid A is just the way better version of King of Limbs. So much better than King of Limbs. Like, it's everything that King of Limbs tries to be, but just 12 times better. It's such a good album. So there are times where I listen to it and I feel like, well, okay, what the hell is this? But there are times, like, when I'm in a specific mood and I'm listening to this album, I'm like, damn, my brain just, like, explodes with music. It's a great album. It has a lot of great songs, like the National Anthem, Everything in the Right Place, Optimistic, How to Disappear Completely. King of Limbs tried to be experimental, but it fell flat on its face and then fell through the floor. But then Kid A tries to be experimental and then does like a backflip and then lands it perfectly. And then President Biden comes down from a helicopter and gives Kid A like the gold medal or something, because that's just how good this album is. So yeah, Kid A is number 3. Now for the runner-up for the number 1 place, second best place album is going to be In Rainbows. Every song on In Rainbows is great. It's just such beautiful music. Nude is probably one of the most beautiful songs I've ever listened to in my entire life. Like, oh my god. I achieved nirvana. Like, my body was literally floating off the ground. I was going into space. I could literally see the face of God shining upon me. And everything else on In Rainbows is just that good. Like Jigsaw Falling Into Place, House of Cards, Weird Fish is less Preggy, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's just all great songs, and this album is just great. Only loses to the first place candidate, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that listens to Radiohead, or anyone in general really. And so the first place goes to, drumroll please, OK Computer. Yeah, I'm sure everyone was expecting this. OK Computer is the closest Radiohead has ever gotten to album perfection. It's just so good. Like, every single song on this album is just a banger after banger after banger after banger. An amazing album with amazing songs that I listened to this album more times than I can count. And everyone in the world agrees with this opinion. Like, it's not something new or, you know, contrary to public opinion. Like, everyone agrees that this is Radiohead's greatest achievement. And it really is. Every song on this album is good. Like, sure there are standouts like Paranoid Android, Exit Music for Film, Let Down. Every single song on this album is just great. If you somehow haven't listened to Radiohead yet, listen to OK Computer. This album is the reason Radiohead is who Radiohead is today. This album defines Radiohead. It's just so freaking good, man. But yeah, listen to this album. Listen to OK Computer, then listen to The Bends, because they're both great. So yeah, that's all the Radiohead albums ranked from best to worst in my opinion, which is the truth, the gospel truth anyways, so because I only spit facts. Thanks for watching this video. See ya.